1999 in my apartment. I talked to the 18 founders that one of the things we want to prove, if Jack Ma and his team can be successful, 80% of the people in the world can be successful. Because we don't have money, we don't have technology, we don't have almost nothing. The only thing is that we believe in the future and start to do little by little. So, people like us, we are getting used to be criticized. We are getting used to be said no. People say no to you. When people say yes to you, we really appreciate it because it's not, why people should say yes to you. You have to prove. So as an entrepreneur, you have to get used to being challenged. Have to get used to being said no by the other people, by the investors, by your customers, by the people. But this is the opportunity. When everybody believes it, you have no chance. When only few people believe it, you prove it, that's your chance.
What made you so resilient to the fact that people are starting to say no? The first one who said no to you, and 10 times I have understood, or 9 or 10 times, is the Harvard Business School. KFC has refused to hire you. So, with all this no, how at the end of the day, what has been the driver which has made you who you are?
Yeah, I wish people can say yes to me, but if they say yes, I have no choice. I have to accept it. And of course, we are not happy when people say no. Have a good sleep, wake up, try it again. It's always my fault, not the other people's fault. Why you can convince people if you cannot prove it? But the thing is that, very important, there are two groups of people you have to convince. First group people, your team. They believe in you. They trust in you, and they believe the things we agree together. And second is your customers. They really love your products. And investors, it's okay.
Investors, it's okay.
Yeah, you cannot make investors invest in you. Don't believe investors, there is a long-term investors. They have to sell. When they want to invest in you, they say, I'm a long investor. When you're in trouble, they run so fast. That's the advice. Spending time on your customers. Spend time on your people, on your own team. Don't spend time on your investors. Don't spend time on your competitors. When you look at the people you want to serve, when you look at the people you work together, if they're happy, you will win. That's the very simple. Because
I wish it is that simple because
it looks simple, very difficult to do, but you have to do it.
I have been yesterday with you at the dinner which has been offered by President Macron, and you deliver one of the most inspiring speech I had the chance to listen to. And with a vision regarding the future, and also this idea that one of the things which is taking us back is the fact that most of the time we are too much attached to the past. Maybe you can share some of those views with the audience because it was so impressive, and I think it is what is leading the world. So, can you maybe in a few sentences summarize your thought on this?
Yeah, I think my advice to the governments, many government officers, government officers love to make policies and rules and regulations, but nobody is an expert of the future. We human beings only have the experts of yesterday. When we make the future, especially this technological revolution, is so overwhelming, so change everything. So the policy we make have to be smart policies at the smart time. We should not, because of one problem, we make everybody in trouble. And I think that we should always think about the future. Think about how we can. There's very little we can do to change yesterday. There's very little we can do to change today. But there's a lot of things we can do to change tomorrow. If we do a little bit today, we can change the future. So I think that government should everybody in the world should embrace the change, embrace the technology. You don't have the solutions, or we don't have the solutions. Somebody have the solution. We don't have I see so much worries today in Europe, in the world. The thing worries me is the worry itself. When you worry, you start protective. And I think people worry about jobs. Today we think people worry about artificial intelligence. Well, don't worry too much about that. People are improving, and people working about the security. Alibaba got, in the past 5 years, every day we got 300 million attacks per day. But we think it's an opportunity. Let's learn it. Let's learn how to do it, solve the problems. And then in the future, when we got experience, share with the others. That's the whole thing. So I want to encouraging everybody. Look at the future. We cannot avoid it. We have to embrace it. We have to live it, think about the future, and there are a lot of things. My grandfather will never be surprised, will be so surprised that today human beings have so many jobs can be created.
President Macron has mentioned the two very important powerhouses of power countries, which are the United States of America and China on the other world. And when you look at China, how would you describe the ecosystem of China and what is making it so successful? Well, beyond the quality of the entrepreneurs, obviously.
First, China in the past 40 years, Chinese people are very hardworking. Second, we keep on learning. Well, one thing very interesting in China, if you walk on the street, you pick up 100 Chinese young people, you will find 90 of them can speak at least 30 or 40 English words. But when you go to New York, when you go to Washington, D.C., you pick up 100 American young people. How many of them can speak one Chinese? We keep on learning. You have to keep on learning and go. The second thing is that my advice, because I hear a lot of entrepreneurs talk about, oh, China is coming and America is coming. Wow, nothing to do with you. My view is that I have the same problem early days. I say Microsoft is coming, Oracle is coming, IBM is coming. You should think about your neighbor. George is coming. It's more important. Because the African desert, the ecosystem is not controlled by lions and the elephants. The ecosystem is controlled by the insects in the mud. Last century, the company, the bigger the better. So everybody wants to be a big company, the powerful company. This century, from now on, a good company is more important than a powerful company. When you compete with big companies, I think in past 20 years, we've been competing with any company, lots of companies in China. But I learned one thing, no matter how strong an elephant is, if you're an ant, if you hide yourself well, an elephant cannot kill you. You can kill the elephant if you're in a better way. It's about your thinking.
This is your opinion about the small European startups when they are looking at China?
Yeah, I think I've been so fascinated by so many great European small business. You have such a high quality products, great services, great stylish, tasty. Sell to China instead of waiting China selling to you. And using the internet, old days, you cannot do that. But today, huge opportunity. Young people try to use the internet to sell to everywhere in the world.
Yesterday you mentioned that Alibaba is helping roughly in a certain way 14 million people a year.
Yeah, we've created close to directly or indirect 40 million jobs in China.
Which is an impressive number. How this is happening?
Yeah, I think internet, because I'm not a technical guy, I was trained to be a high school teacher, and I worry about technology like anybody. And early days, I talked to my engineer. I'm the quality control and product tester of every software, no matter how they feel, how excited they are. I will be the person to test it. If I cannot use it, just throw it in the garbage, because 80% people don't like it. So if I can use it, lots of people can use it. So I think technology is something we enable people. Early days when Alibaba started to do it, people say, well, this is a terrible model because America, they are helping big companies. They are helping big companies to save the cost. My view is that China don't have a lot of big companies. So we shouldn't help big companies. Big companies don't need us. They always want to do something themselves. We should help small companies. By helping small companies, we should not think about saving the cost for them. Small companies are so good at saving the cost. They want to make money. So we enable small companies to make money online. We help them to sell farther. We help them to find a reliable, a little bit cheaper supplies. So everything we do is trying to making sure small business, easy to do business. They're easy to access financing, easy to have logistics, easy to find the buyers and supplies. So that is what we do.
And I have been also impressed by what you are doing in Africa and how you are helping the farmers. Maybe you can say a few words on that.
Yeah. I visited Africa 2 years ago, and I was amazed by the people, the passion, the young people there. And reminds me, because just now when the president talking to the entrepreneurs, I was sitting there, I was so touched and moved. It looks like, I don't like talking to the big companies. They talk about a KPI, they talk about next quarter, and they talk about a competition. When those young people, they're talking about dreams, they're talking about the future. They never fear about something. So we are the same animals. But in Africa, I found a lot of these kind of same animals like me. They love, they never fear, they want to change. So I think we're talking about inclusiveness. If Africa is not a development, and inclusive is just like a slogan. So we have to figure out something how we can help the Africa. But I think today internet can help Africa, right? In the early days, a lot of people don't know how to use the computers. But today, a lot of people have a mobile phone. A mobile phone is much more powerful than a computer. The next thing I found that Africa, there should be 3 E's. E-government, entrepreneurs, and education. Where we have an e-government, we make government online, there will be transparent, there will be efficiency. We should make entrepreneurs, because the entrepreneurs that create the future. Entrepreneurs that try their best to realize their dreams. If we spend time, if we spend resources on the education, Africa will have a lot of people. So what we see today in Africa was much better than 20 years ago when Alibaba started. Because at that time, nobody even believing internet. Very few people using computer in China. And there's no mobile phone. Today in Africa, all these are ready. So the only thing is that let's start to build now and start to change Africa.
We at Viva Tech, we believe a lot in Africa. That's the reason why we have created Africa Tech. And by the way, we will have tomorrow a conversation with President Kagame and President Sall. President Kagame from Rwanda, President Sall from Senegal, and we will discuss how they are transforming their countries. You mentioned dreams, and I do believe, yes, that we need to have big dreams.
Yeah.
Big dreams. And there is a book from Shimon Peres, president of Israel, the late president of Israel, that you knew very well, who said that there is no room for small dreams. And in your wildest dreams, have you ever thought that Alibaba will become, when you started in 1999 in your apartment, would become what it is today?
No, I never thought about that. 1999, in my apartment, 18 founders, the only purpose at the time, we survive. We 18 people gather $50,000 US. We think we can last for about 10 months and then raise money. But only 4 months later, no matter how we tighten the budget, we still run out of money. So everything we think about is to survive. But we believe that internet will change China. Internet will change the world. We believe if we don't succeed, somebody will. But if we start to do now and be smart enough, find the right people, do the right things, we will win. But later now, that we get bigger, we now think it's our responsibility. It's something that it's the mission somebody put in our heart that we should do more, because we find we helped created 40 million jobs. We helped over millions of companies, small companies survive. Why we cannot help 100 million jobs globally? Why we cannot help small business in Africa, Middle East, developing countries, make them successful? By the way, the difference between artificial intelligence, AI, and people is that machines never have dreams. We have dreams. If you don't have dreams, you will never win with machines in the future.
I know that you care a lot about people. When you look at what you have done, do you believe that Alibaba is good for the people?
Yeah, we try our best. This is our culture. This is my way because I'm a founder. I know nothing about technology. I know nothing about marketing. I know nothing about the legal, all the stuff. And
What do you know?
all I know about people. I know people. I was trained to be a teacher. As a teacher, you want your students better than you are. You want your best product is your students. You want this student to be a lawyer, that student is a banker, that student is an entrepreneur, that is a mayor. You don't want this bankrupt that in the jail, that is in trouble. So you always want people better. And then you have to listen to them. You have to see their thing. And then make all the things to making sure that you can empower them. You can make them teamwork. You can then collaborate. So this is how we do. And I find the more you care about your team, the team will care about you, and the team will care about their customers. So I talk to all of my people early days, don't make me happy. Don't love me. Make your customer happy. Make your customer love you, and I will love you any minute. That is very simple. So everything we do as a founder, make your customer happy, get your team, make your team happy, and you will be happy.
Great. Jack, since I know you, I have seen many facets of Jack Ma. I have seen a magician, somebody who is playing with magic. I have seen a great entrepreneur, the founder of one of the greatest companies in the world. And there is also a showman. And you have built your own Black Friday, the singles. And when you have this day, which is a day where you are doing, I don't know how many $1 billion in one single day.
30 billion.
30. Okay. For the people who don't know, we are fighting all the year long to do 1 million, 30 billion in one day.
But not every day. I wish every day.
Not every day, because you are not doing the show every day. And my understanding is that you are doing the show during 24 hours. So explain a little bit this and how you came to this idea of the Day of the Singles.
Oh yeah, first people say I have different faces. I don't call different faces. I think in my heart, I'm always curious. I'm curious about a lot of things. And I know when I start Alibaba, I know this is not the thing I want to do in all my life. I want to go back to teaching. So I think life is short. You should experience all kinds of things. I don't want to die in my office. I want to die on the beaches. We work hard and we spend the money. But you spend the money, you should spend the money smart way to empower more people. Why we succeed? Because we're using technology to empower a lot of people, we succeed. If we want to be most successful, empower more people. That's very simple. So for November 11, the Singles Day was created by my successor, CEO Daniel. But the idea was this. Everybody was single. When you're single, you don't have a boyfriend, girlfriend, if you're bored. So 11, November 11, we think you should start buying things. So we just make singles happy. And then we did not expect that it comes like this. It's become the largest shopping festival. And last year we sold $30 billion. This year will go up because we're only helping Chinese singlers. We're a lot of single people here in France.
Great. You know, there are a lot of things that you have done which are extremely impressive, at least for the people who are following you since many years. And before going back to the questions that I have, I would like to share with you a few questions that we got from the audience. It's the first time, by the way, that we have decided to give the audience the possibility of putting some questions. We mentioned a few minutes ago the fact that it has not been completely a fairy tale and that you went through some difficulties at the beginning. And Raphael is putting the question, which is, what was your biggest failure in scaling Alibaba and what did you learn from?
Yeah, well, we faced a lot of challenges, but I'm sure Alibaba is going to face more challenges. We worry every day. When I was young, when company was young, we thought, well, what if when Alibaba become that big, my life will be easier. Then now the companies the bigger the company, the more problems I have. So while you are still small company, enjoy it. You will never experience the happiness of operating a small company any longer. We're going to be too big. You have so much headaches, so many things happening. And people say, Jack, you know, there are a lot of books about you, but there's none of the books I write myself. If there's one book I want to write in the future, it's called Alibaba 1001 Mistakes. We made so many mistakes. We had so many troubles. Believe it or not, China built up e-commerce company, built up an internet-related company. No internet connection at that time, no credit cards, no delivery system. So we meet problems all the time. It's not easy, but we tell ourselves, we will be successful until we make 10,000 mistakes. We will be successful if we survive in any crisis. So when crisis came, we know it's a challenge. Everybody start to be united. We solve the challenge, then we complain each other. Before we solve the problem of the crisis, we should not complain. So I have a problem in HR, I have a problem in financing, I have a problem in technology, I have a problem everywhere. Tell me. So that's why I become a mentor in entrepreneurs program in China. People, a lot of entrepreneurs have questions. When I listen to their questions, oh my God, I have this problem too. So I want to say we have gone through more than 90% of the problems that any entrepreneurs have met. This is what we feel proud. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell my kids, my grandchildren, it's not the thing we feel proud we made Alibaba. It's so many mistakes that we overcome, so many challenges we experience that make me feel proud. Life is about experience. So when you become entrepreneur, don't worry about the competitors. Don't worry about the mistakes. Don't worry about the challenges. Go through it. That's the great fun part of your business, of your experience. And then you got a courage, you got a wisdom, you got a team follow you.
Bravo.
Yeah, because you don't have a choice. You cannot sit there and cry, right? If you cry can solve problems, I can cry oceans of tears. But we make competitors cry. We don't cry.
Very often, unfortunately, in Europe, with only 10 mistakes, you are out of job. But I consider that it's a great lesson, and this has been also a lesson of my life. I'm always saying that I have made sufficiently mistakes in order to survive. So, the other question we have is, where do you see Alibaba in 5 years' time?
Well, in 5 years' time, Alibaba is, the vision should be given by Daniel, our CEO. Everybody in our company, our first-tier colleagues, they look at next month, next quarter. Manager looks at 6 months. Vice President looks at 3 years. CEO looks at 5 years and 10 years. I look at 2 years. Year 2036, Alibaba want to achieve to build up a digital economy that that can help create 100 million jobs, can serve 2 billion consumers in the world, and it can support 10 million business be profitable on our platform. That is the thing that we decided to do by year 2036. So that's what we want.
36.
Yeah. So we want to empower everybody, every young people, every small business. When you have a mobile phone, you can global buy, global sell, global deliver, global pay, and global travel. And if we can do that, we don't know how big we will be, but we are not interested in we're being like a $5 trillion company or $10 trillion company. We are only interested in these 5 things: global buy, global sell, global pay, global deliver, and global travel for everybody. That's what we want to do.
Great.
Yeah.
When I invited you, it was at a time where you already had a heavy schedule and you were very much hesitant to come because you had a board meeting, and you decided at the end of the day to move the board meeting, which is quite impressive, and I thank you very warmly for that. And what has really prompted your decision is when I told you that we need you to tell the young people some lessons. And there is a question, which is what advice would you give to the young generation that follows you?
Well, I follow young generations. I come because there are so many young entrepreneurs. I come because it's the opportunity for small business. There are so many small businesses in Europe, excellent, and there are so many young people around the world and entrepreneurs. But let me share with you my thought. If you're an entrepreneur, if you want to do some business, think about. You should never think about succeed next month. You should never think about succeed next year. If you think about next month you will be successful, easy come, easy go, you will go down very quick. You should think about, is this thing will be good in 10 years? And have a patience. And the second is that get a good team. If somebody in your team is better than you are, follow him. If you think you are better, share with their ideas, your trouble, your thinking. And hardworking. There's no other choices. And look, your eyes, this eye, look at the customers. This eye, look at your team. And talking, share with your team all the thinking you have, making sure we're on the same, right? I hate a lot of people, this eye is US dollar, this is euro, they talk like RMB, you know? Nobody want to work with these people. They only talk about money. They have to tell, what do you want? What we agree, how we can do together. That's all the things. And giving yourself some time.
Yesterday you have been seeing a group of people who are working on Tech for Good. And one of the key issues which has been addressed by Ginny Rometti and the group that she was leading with Jean-Laurent Bonafé is about education. And I have a question, which is, many recognize you as a great teacher. How do you envision the future of education? Particularly when you know that everything will change in the coming years and the impact of technology will be huge on all the jobs. How do we prepare the future for the future generations, and what would you recommend?
Yeah, I feel more comfortable that I work as a teacher. I never thought that I could be a CEO. I remember more than 10 years ago, when company was in big trouble, one of our investors kindly and very politely said, Jack, you think that somebody can do a better job? And he's thinking that you should resign. And I heard that and I said, I cannot resign now, because if I resign, the company will collapse. I will resign when the company is good. So since then, I was preparing, always finding people better than I am in the company, giving them the opportunities. My position, CEO, is called Chief Education Officer in the company. So I built up the company more like a university. We call our company, the ground is called campus. We learn together. We trust each other. Students and teachers have to trust each other. So I'm always thinking about that. Now, this year, September 10th, it's 20-year anniversary of Alibaba. I kept my promise, and I want to go back to teach the things I love to do better. I'm not going to go just to teach in one class. I think there are something that we should not worry about, something we should change. The education system now, in past 200 years, these are the education system for industrial period. Now we are moving to the digital period. Past hundreds of years, we make people like machines. Next 20, 30 years, we'll make a machine like a people. The way we teach our kids, the things we teach our kids, machine can do better. Machine can calculate faster, remember everything. So I think what we should do, change the education system. We should not make our kids lose the future. We should not make our kids have not jobs. So this is why I want to go back to education and start to do something on education system. The thing they teach, the way they teach, I think it's a huge opportunity. I think in this world there's very few people like me. We do it not because I want to make money. We do it not because somebody forced me to do. I do it because I love it. I do it because the money I make in the Alibaba need to spend. I don't want to give the money to the investors or banks to spend widely. I want to spend myself on the education, improve, change the system. And I think 55 years old today is a bit old for Alibaba CEO. But for a new startup about education, I'm quite young. So I want to spend another 15 years on that, doing something that can change a lot of young people, young kids, make them ready for the future. They don't have to worry like their parents worry.